Ashwood Revisited. There will be no flowers or rose-colored thoughts. You will sit here, you will remember, you will tell the story how it actually happened. Your high school boyfriend of 2 months hits you up, says he's reached the point where he needs to make amends. If there's anything he can do to make it up to you as a friend, and you know he needs this more than you need to be angry. So you tell him, buy me coffee. Let's catch up. That's all I want. That is not enough for him. A penchant for masochism too severe to ignore. He needs to do more. It's always more. And he asks if he owes you money, and you honestly don't know. He thinks so. He asks how much you need, as if your heart is another court fine. You tell him it's fine. You tell him to give you $20 if it bothers him so much. He asks if that's enough. You ask if he has more to give. He doesn't, so it's enough. His parents pick you up to drive you down the street. They do not trust him to actually go to the diner without their supervision. They do not say this. He does not say this. It does not need to be said. Instead of focusing on this, you make small talk. His father tells you that being a filing clerk is a good job, and you thank him for the compliment. You know he meant he was surprised that you were more functional than his son when he'd done so much for him. You know he meant the psych ward psychotic shouldn't have built their life better with all the rehab bills he'd fronted. He would never say this. He is too polite, too old-fashioned, too compassionate to cut off the broken boy. It gives you no joy thinking like this. It hurts you thinking about him. And yet there you are in the diner, stirring the spoon of your black coffee that has nothing to stir. Didn't even bother for fake sweeteners. You're full up on saccharine decay. He asks if you're okay. He asks what you've been reading. He asks if you've been eating. You motion to all of you and tell him clearly. He mumbles an apology and interrupts every sentence you make. Every small mistake, every wrong is magnified in those moments. He doesn't remember anything you share that would make this conversation worth having. He says he doesn't think he'd ever done anything good for you. You tell him about the time you both stayed after school, walked down the street, crossed the highway running, holding hands, and he bought you ice cream, and he whispered in your ear that he wanted to make you happy for once as he handed you the vanilla cup, and you hated vanilla, but he done this for you, so it tasted wonderful that the whole afternoon was motion picture perfect, that it was all worth it for that one memory. And you tell him it was the nicest thing anyone had ever done for you at that point. He didn't believe he'd done that, and your brain processes what he says as, why would anyone ever do that for you? It's a thought you don't argue with. In that moment, you are glad you have never seen him naked. In that moment, you are glad he has never had you. He will never have you. You continue talking to him after that. But tell everyone that he's the only person you ever fell out of love with. And yet, you still keep him around, still save his father's favorite flavor of lollipop when you see him at work sometimes. I am done with twisting reality to make it more palatable. I am all out of sugar. I am all out of softness. I didn't forget these parts. I just didn't want to hurt you.